someone to come to you and say, well, you're so good at work, you're so good at what you do, could you tell me a few of the things that made you so good at it? The third thing you have to do, if you want to be a leader, you want to be successful, and you want to deal with the modern world, is you have to write things down. Don't lose the art of writing. I don't mean writing books. Hey, if you can do it, great. I don't mean writing big, long things. I mean making notes of the things that are important to you. Every time I have to make an important decision, I line it up pros and cons. The good reasons for acquiring this client, the bad reasons for acquiring. The good reasons for expanding the business in a certain way, the bad reasons for it. Good reasons for buying a car, this particular car, the bad reasons for buying the car. Do you know what happens when you do that? A reason emerges you didn't think of. A good one or a bad one. And it tends to make you analyze your thinking, which we're desperately in need of. And finally, the final thing you have to do is think. Stop and think. Every day, stop and think. Everybody doesn't, the whole world is moving in a direction trying to stop us from thinking. Everything we watch on television, what we read in the newspapers now, all these internet communications and tweets and beeps and boops and bobs, doesn't leave any time for thinking. This is why we're separated. This is why the human being is exalted. This is why the human being is made in the image and likeness of God. Because we can think. So think. Don't just emote, think. How are you going to do that with all this happening and your lives getting so busy? How are you going to teach your children to do it? Real simple. Every day, just stop for 2 to 5 minutes. Just stop and think. You can pray, you can meditate, but think. Think about what you're doing, think about what your goal is, think about where you're going. Give some time for thought so that you can think. I have no idea what... So I know why, I'm going to tell you why he's here. I know why he's here. Just figuring out you have him saying there. The reason he's saying, so I know why, I'm going to tell you why he's here. I know why he's here. Just figuring out you have him saying there. The reason he's saying you lied to him, he is saying, I think this is right, that I knew about the attack of September 11th and that I didn't tell anybody. This is what they think. Because I was interviewed shortly after the attack by Brian Williams, and I said the following. I said, I heard them say the tower is coming down. And they've taken that thing out of context, and they don't tell you when I said that. Make it appear as if I heard that 2 or 3 days before. And I didn't tell anybody. You know what I was talking about? I was in a building 2.5 blocks away from the tower, trying to communicate with the vice president. The building started to shake like it was an earthquake. And the chief of the police department, Chief Esposito, yelled out, "The tower is coming down." Within less than a second, the tower did come down and trapped us in the building for 20 minutes. These morons believe that I heard this 2 days before, that I knew about the attack. In spite of knowing about the attack, I went there so I could get myself killed. I knew the towers were going to come down. So I left 55th Street, and 5th Avenue, rushed to the scene, walked below the North Tower, knowing it was going to come down imminently, and then put myself in a building where I was almost killed and trapped for 20 minutes. And I did this on purpose. I once explained this to somebody like that. And you know what? You know what they said to me? They said to me, you probably knew exactly which way the building was going to come down. If it wasn't so sick, it would be fine. But it gives you an idea of how the human mind can go beyond, reality. Well, the final principle is, and this would be good, you got to stop and think every day. You got to think about where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish. It kind of pulls all your efforts together. And if you want to be a leader, you have to care about people. You have to love people. And that reminds me of a story that I'm going to tell you. That you can't tell the ending to anybody, okay? Promise me. This happened on September 14th, 2001. It was right after the attacks of September 11th. And the President of the United States, President Bush, wanted to come to New York, and he wanted to engage with the people at Ground Zero to tell them how much he appreciated what they were doing. So the Secret Service was concerned about it. We worked all night on a plan that would have the President in and out in like 15, 20 minutes, a half hour at the most. Not too much exposure in public. The buildings were still in disrepair and falling. There were fires below the ground of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit and more. And we didn't know exactly where to put the President. So we designed this elaborate scheme. He'd get up on some debris, he'd talk to the crowd, he'd go down, and we had 10 people lined up. He would thank each one of them symbolically to thank all the rest, firefighter, police officer, rescue worker. The President gave this speech, came down, saw the 10 people, saw the thousands of people behind him, went past the 10 people and went into the crowd, and started shaking hands with and thanking everybody in the crowd. He was there for a great length of time when the Secret Service agent in charge said to me, could you please go in and get him out? To which I said, no. Because I liked what he was doing. It was great for my people. I could see it was lifting their morale. Well, the President must have stayed there 45 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. Finally, he's finished. Now he was way behind schedule. Everybody was really nervous about getting him out of there. He was there too long. And they rushed him past the 10 people who nobody told them to go away. They're still standing there waiting to get their shake with the President. So the President sees that. He comes back and he starts shaking hands with them. Firefighter, police officer, rescue worker, nurse, clergyman. At the very end of the line, we get about 6 into it, at the very end of the line, number 10, is a New York City construction worker. Now, New York City construction workers are very special. Big guys, big opinions. They'll express them to anybody, mayor, president, pope, it doesn't matter. Now, this guy, when I get closer, looks even more special. Because he's like weird. He's doing, the rest of them are standing still, he's doing this. Oh my God, I can't let the President shake hands with him. This guy's like really weird. Too late. The President goes up to him, doesn't even wait for the President to put out his hand. He grabs President Bush's hand, he pulls him next to him like this, takes his big left arm, he puts it around the President's shoulder, takes his right arm, puts it around the President's shoulder, lifts him off the ground, and he starts doing this with him. And he's mumbling something. You can't forget what it is. I love you, man! I love you, man! I love you, man! The Secret Service agent, who did not have a sense of humor, puts his finger in my face and he says, Giuliani, if this guy hurts the President, you're finished. God bless you.